Hello everyone and thanks for watching and welcome to another episode of Cellar Talks. Today we are going into Spain once more in episode 3 of season 5 and we will be talking to Rafael Palacios from the winery Rafael Palacios. So I see he's already watching. Let's invite him in the show and learn all about his wines and the winery. So let me get him in, just 1 second. Hello, Rafael.
Hi, Niels. How are you?
I'm doing well. What about you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Good evening.
It's good that we did the test, but we don't need to do the test because you're already a professional.
No, well, okay. Thanks to the confinement, it was, more easy because it was very usual, no, during 2 months, connecting and thanks to that, maybe it was very nice idea to contact the people to be, together during these bad days.
At least you can talk to each other, and even though you're not physically together, you can talk about the wines and the winery and everything. So thank God for the technology.
Yes. It's very nice. Yes.
So today we're going to talk about the winery, Rafael Palacios. So it's one and the same, you and the name in the winery. But maybe before we start with the introduction from yourself, personally and your background, I'm just going to explain to the people that we're also going to taste one of your wines.
Yes,
which I already announced. Do you have the same one?
Yes, same one.
Perfect. The Sortes, and much more about that later. But the easy thing with the winery is that we don't have to think about which grape variety, because the variety is very clear with you. It's a Godello.
Yes, was as one professional life about Godello. No, after my beginning in the Rioja family, working a little bit with Viura, Macabeo. I finally taste one day many years ago in '97 the Godello grape, and I thought that was an amazing grape. Has all the the Atlantic influence, the Atlantic profile of all Galician grapes, but with a lot of much deeper. I love this gastronomy character of the grape. This is taste that the big volume. The mouth has a lot of glycerol, not bad acidity, and I really love it. And I start searching and.
So more about the Godello and about the great wines you make with the Godello, because it's a very interesting story, which we're going to spend a lot of time on talking about why it's important that this grape now is more well known, because for a long time, especially out of Spain, it was not so well known, but it's picking up. It's becoming more and more famous, I would say. But maybe we start with the background, because you already mentioned a little bit. You're from a winemaking family, a very big and important name, but in Rioja. So what's your background for the people that don't know you as a person?
Bueno, I'm the youngest in the family, and after many years making other things in the family business, I finally traveled to France to Bordeaux to start my studies in enology, and at the same time I have the big chance to, thanks to the contact of my brother from Álvaro, start working with Moex family in Livorno, a little bit in Pomerol, Saint-Emilion. And at the same time I make the studies and make a stage in different chateaus. After 2 years, I finally trip to Australia. I worked for a long half year there for many different companies, especially with Cass Green and Penfolds Group. And I'm back home in 1994. And then I start working with my family, my brothers and my father in Palacios Remondo in Rioja in 94. And I was in 94, between 94 till 2004. Okay.
Yeah.
During these years, I make a big evolution in the family winery, and also discover when I really we had a big problem with the white grapes, with the white wines, because with the big boom of Alvarinho and in Rías Baixas and Verdejo in Rueda, the classical Rioja white wine was not very interesting for the people, for the consumer. And I
because
finally
for a long time the white Riojas were also on a high level. When the Albariños and Verdejos were not there, there was the white Riojas.
Of course. And finally, well, after make, you know, to be very insistent with talking with my father and my brothers, etc., I finally take the responsibility to evaluate, to make and improve the quality of these Viura grapes. And I start I start making my first white wine. The name is Placet. The wine has a very nice success, and I finally, in these years, after 2 years to produce this my first white, my father gave me the more responsibility in the technique department.
Yeah.
During these years, and make a big works on the whites, but unfortunately, my father died in 2000. We recovered Álvaro from Priorat to managing the winery in Rioja, and 4 years later, I decided that my time is finished in the family winery, family business, because I thought I have the energy, you know, the youngest energy to start a new project, and at the same time, and I have a lot of more experience and I had a lot of passion for the white wines, no? And
so the white wines really grew on you, more or less.
Yes. It starts thanks to this recovery of the quality of our Rioja white wines, white wine. But between these years, I finally taste Godello. Was Anguitian in 96, I think, or 97, and I really was, really shocked by the grape. And I started thinking about the possibility to travel into Galicia, make some experience. And between 2002 and 2003, I had the possibility to share experience with another winery there in Valdeorras. We produce interesting whites. But finally, I decided in 2004 to move with my family to Valdeorras and start my project in the other places of Valdeorras in the highest altitude, and we can talk later if you want.
Yeah, so Valdeorras, this is where you ended up. First, you worked with a winery there, and then you decided you want to start.
Was a really weekend experience, between some weekends, in my free time, okay? And it was during 2002 and 2003. In 2002, I remember that we had a very cold harvest, very cold vintage, sorry. And it was a very fresh wines, very elegant wines. But in 2003, I have discovered the problematic, because we are inside Galicia. We are in the most historical place of region of Galicia is Orense.
Yeah.
Four of total 5 appellations, Galician appellations, are inside Orense. And historically, this is the really, that has where it's in Orense where we have the most older vines, a lot of history talking about.
So the winemaking for a long time already was part of this region.
But that's Orense has the only, for me was a little bit surprised because in summertime, sometimes some seasons are enough hot, the temperature are a little bit higher, and for me was a little bit I was a little bit disappointed because I really come here looking for the freshness, looking for the more elegant Galician styles.
So in the summer, the warm temperatures did not help you for this.
Yes. And I found really much hard than for my opinion was not the really idea that I had before coming here. Altimeter in my head, I'm looking for altitudes, more altitudes, and I found Obolo is the highest municipality or concello in Valdeorras. As a subzone, the name is Vibey Valley, but the municipality is Obolo. And I start there this project in 2004, start buying and parcels, and we can talk in later.
And from that moment on, you had the ideal combination for the region, the altitudes, the grapes, the whole climate, and the grapes work together for you in the style that you want to produce.
Of course, because normally the Sil Valley in Valdeorras is around 320 meters and maximum 500 meters. Some place you can find some parcels in 550, but it's extreme. In the other way, in Obolo, we start the lowest altitude is around 650 meters.
Yeah, so it's a huge difference.
And you can go up of the 700 meters. It's changed a lot because sometimes when to explain how is the altitude, has the influence, the altitude of freshness in the wines, is something more interesting than fruit, than flowers. It's a question of fragrance, of freshness, no? And this is the really was a really success, no? Because we work especially there, and in my opinion, it's like we reinvent the Godello profile, no? Because it's with a lot more fresher.
But also because you mentioned in the summer you have this problem where there were hot summers. That this is the biggest reason, one of the biggest reasons that you decided to go higher in the altitude, or not?
No, it's not. It's not by the situation. It's exactly because I think talking about producing high-level wines, ever whites or reds. I think maybe the region, especially for the sometimes it's not a question of the I think we must to produce extreme wines and high level wines. You must improve to work in the extremes areas. We are in the very mountain areas. The altitude is incredible. And we have a lot of freshness. Thanks to the freshness and the altitude, we have a lot of. We don't talking about disease or treatment. It's much more clean and healthy. It's many different things. And also talking about soils. When you go up, you clean the schist or you clean the granite. We work especially on granites. And we have any clay. We have any other. We have pure mineral. There's pure rocks or pure mineral soils, and I think it's not only a question of looking for the freshness thanks to the altitude, escaping of hotness, of escaping of the climate change. No, it's a question of history. From many years ago, the really historical place of where you can find terraces, you can find all vines in Valdeorras.
It was already up there.
Yeah, of course, because down in the lowest areas, the people planted another cereals, potatoes, or many other cultivation more easy and more.
Yeah, you were recommended to me by Jean Bellandraat, and we talk about Bellandraat, we talk about white wines, we talk about Spanish white wines, and I before talked with him about a lot of times about white wines in Spain, because you have I would not say a handicap, but I think Spanish wine deserves a bigger stage than it does at the moment, because the quality of the wines and the different varieties that Spain has to offer, I think a lot of people are not aware of this. So I'm happy to see that the quality is going up and there's more different varieties giving the stage. But the white wines in particular always were even more difficult. I don't know if you would agree with that, but
yes, we crossed during long years between, I think, in the end of the 80s and the beginning of 90s. We crossed a very technical revolution in the Spanish white production, elaboration. And I think thanks to this technology, we start producing correct wines, more, perfect, looking for the fruit, thanks to technology, thanks to the commercial yeast, we produce more fruity wines and more fresh wines, more perfect wines, but we lose a lot of soul. We lose in this way. We lose a lot of personality, and we lose the more important, no, the valor of the great wines, no. I think after this crazy, of course, in the big appellations, no, in the big, I think Rías Baixas and Rueda was the has a big impact talking about technical evolution and also in volumes, no, because they produce. I think the big part of percentage of whites on whole Spain, no. But on the last, I can tell you, 20-25 years, we really understand that must be back to produce wines, looking for the villages, looking for the parajes, the paysage, looking for the parcels, looking for the old vines, looking for the soils, and it's in this time when we really understood that we can produce whites as many people in Spain produce reds, talking about micro parcels, working very hard in the little parcels, in the small, and of course looking for the special identity of is when we really start producing the high level white wines in Spain, in my opinion. Okay.
And I think it's also a matter of, first of all, it's a matter of making an identity for yourself, but it's even more important, like you said, you go to grapes that have proven over the decades and the centuries that they belong in the terroir. And then, you can get success. And I did a series with Grandes Pagos a few months ago. We had 5 wineries that are a member of the association, and they all say the same thing. It's important to go back to the roots, and then even if you can get a grape that is local, it's even nicer. But at least you need to the expression and let the grapes do the work. And in the cellar, okay, you can do some work, but it needs to be there needs to be unique aspects. I mean, you can make a Verdejo, but there's a lot of Verdejo in the world. But how are you going to stand out with that?
Yes, I think, in my opinion, our work, the base is Godello, but if you taste our wines, in our top wines, Godello is not so important as the parcels. I think that's really the success. Okay, we need the grape or the producer will be the bridge, no, to jump into the top 2 wines. But I think always when we talk about top wines, top level, high, quality white wines, we must to be care. We must to care. The origin. It's really in the origin where we will find, and sometimes it's not easy to find. To find the special. The really place, or the really lieu-dit, or the really top parcel to produce. Fortunately for me, and in this project, I found not very old, but medium old parcels to produce our top wines.
Old enough to give you the character that you need.
Our older parcels is 100 years old, but this is just the one parcel, and the rest parcels as medium age, 40 to 50 years old, was the plan of recovery Godellos in the end of the 70s. But it's enough, age to express, to express the character of the soil.
For the character and the intensity that you need to work with.
I remember in Bordeaux, they changed, no? They substitute the plantations in 40, 50, maximum 40 years old, no? But I think we need more than 30 years or similar. It depends on the soils, it depends on the regions, to really express the geoclimatical character. When you produce wines with with the young vines, you know, you will produce express a lot of fruit, a lot of primary aromas, a lot of varietal character, but never you arrive to really show the, you know, the character or to show the soul of the of this parcel, of this terroir, or this geoclimatical character.
And how does that work for you in terms of the volume and the production? I mean, sometimes you need to replace vines. I mean, it's not always possible. I mean, all the vines die, and at some point you need to replace. Is there enough to work with, or are you already also yourself? I saw some pictures that you were doing some replanting or some new vineyards as well. You have to think about the future, obviously. So is there enough to work with? Where you started, you went to existing vineyards. At some point, maybe it's drying up the volume that you can get from there. Or is there enough?
The project start very, very slow. No, I remember my first assortes was produced with only 3 parcels.
Yeah.
In 2004.
How many hectares are we talking then? 3 parcels there?
Yeah, only 3 parcels. Okay. Yeah. In 2005, I bought another 2 new ones, and 2005 was 5 parcels. I bought the rest between 2005 and 2007, and in 2007, the assemblage of assortes was 8 very small parcels, but 8 parcels. Today, assortes is producing with the assemblage of 6 parcels, because 2 of these parcels these 8 parcels are you know, elaborate and releasing like a single vineyard. Okay, so Osoro y Antigua.
That's Osoro, yeah.
Osoro and Antigua. Okay, another parcel, this older one. And during this year, on the same time, I increased with many other possibilities. I planted new vineyards in between 2005 and 2007. I also bought medium age vines, not so older, as assortes for Louro, for our entry level, and also planting. And also we have a lot of hectares in allocation in farm. Okay.
Yeah. So you're buying the
we have a
fruit,
contract
with the vineyards, you're renting them.
Right. But it's like, you know, we have a allocation for many years, for minimum 15 years, and we can do it
guaranteed.
And the vines in the vineyards as the same, exactly the same work on the rest. And this is especially for local.
But that means that you're always looking for new sortes and new and also looking at, okay, what do I need to do to maintain the quality and the level? So it's a project that is never really finished, obviously.
Because you're always thinking about. Now it's more complicated. Now we need time, because you know, Obolo is very small municipality.
Yeah.
And I have all the older Godellos. It's in our hands. Sorry.
Yes, you have now.
Yeah. And now we must wait the new plantations, because we made a second plan of plantations in the last 4 years, and now we are, you know, in the middle of this time for future. Okay.
Yeah. For not also for the future, like you said, generations to come. So as always, when you're a winemaker, you have to think not just about you have to think about 30 years ahead, because
of course,
it takes, like you said, it takes 30 years, 40 years to get what you need. So maybe we talk about the wines, and then we go into tasting the assortes. And before we talk about which wines, so I quickly run with you through the portfolio. You already mentioned a couple of times the sortes. And for the people that don't know, because it plays an important role in the project, maybe you can explain first what it is.
Assortes is really the beginning. I think Assortes is the more important wine in the beginning, no? Because in the beginning I bought these parcels to the local growers especially in Santa Cruz do Bolo, in the small parroquia or village of Obolo. And buying these grapes, when negotiated with when I negotiated this parcel with Paco Blanco, who's the people sold me Osoro, he told me that I heritage this parcel, this sorte from my mother, no? And
Okay.
I came here, what's mean sorte? Sorte is like a, by sortage, by heritage, we heritage these parcels by, by, so that, and I decide to put in
So
my,
over the generations, they stay in the
right,
family and they get
right.
married. Maybe you get some new one.
Exactly, and the name is Assortes Valdovivei, okay? It's like the parcels, the Vivei parcels, or the parcel of Valdovivei. And that's really the beginning, okay? And after many years working with these parcels, we start to, we understood the character or the really profiles of each one, and finally we decide in the last year to produce a single vineyard from this parcel here.
So, and then we already mentioned the names, but let's run through it again, because there is for me, it's now very clear how the lineup was established. You started first with, actually, this is the first and the flagship wine still, and a very important wine is why we choose it. But then there is the Loro, which is the entry level, and then we have obviously the others. But I'll let you do the talking. Let's run quickly to that.
Okay, Loro is it's not really an entry level because we don't produce younger vines. The younger vines is sold out in bulk to the other wineries. Loro is a medium age vines between 17 years old to 35 years old.
Okay.
70% is own vines, own vineyards, and the rest is in allocation and renting in farm. Okay.
How much percent is owned by you?
70%.
70. So still big percentage.
Yeah, and the Loro is the very nice introduction in our style wines, because thanks that the vines are not very old, has a very nice, a good remain and a good memories of Godello grape, talking about varietal, but it's a very nice introduction in our style wines, because thanks to the age of some vines, we can offer in this wine a nice expression of the soil to the granite soils. Talking about the soils in Loro, we will play in different. Of course, always the granite sands soils will be but here in Loro we can find some parcels with a little bit of clay or limestone. Basically is granite soils, but and also talking about orientations and altitude, is not so high and so extreme as a Sortes or Sorrel, for example. No, here we all fly between 600 meters to close to 700 meters, and the orientation is much more open. No, you can find many different orientations. Is the reason why, thanks to the soils, Loro is more accessible and
accessible.
That's very. And it's very nice introduction in our wines, because has the varietal character of Godello, but on the same time has the presence from the soils, from the altitude, and has very nice saltiness in the end on the mouth, and it's very nice. It's very interesting wine.
So in that terms, it is the definition of entry. You can always discuss this, but it's sort of an entry into what you want to achieve with your wines. And like you said, it's younger, but it's not young, because 17 years is the minimum, and everything which is younger, you don't use. The grapes that are younger, you don't use yourself in the wine. So it's already developed, but not so complex like the other ones that are.
Of course, when you go up in altitude, sometimes the complexity is not so round, not so, and
not for everybody, maybe.
That's right, but if it's true that it's very nice introduction in our profile wines. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then we go to Assortes. I think is the second. If we go into the next one.
And Assortes one is really our best presentation of it's our best presentation from our village wine. Okay, this is a 100% Santa Cruz do Bolo. We start now to introduce our our interest in the north face of especially small villages village of Santa Cruz, where the orientation is 100 not 100%, but close to 100% north orientation, because Santa Cruz is in the highest altitude of Vibey Valley. The north face of these terraces go down to the Vibey River, and it's an amazing place. It's remembering the Ribeira Sacra a little bit, and thanks to this altitude and this, this pure soil we are talking about, pure sand soils. We are here. We don't have any clay, any limestone. It's pure granite soils. It depends on the parcels. We can find more fines or a little bit more gross sands, but finally, it's pure sands. And thanks to that, the profile of wine is much more, direct to the soil, no?
Yeah.
In compare with Loro, during you taste the wine in mouth, you cross around the fruit, you cross around the primary character of the grape. But here in Azortes, the taste is freshness, is fragrance, and go directly to this very salty character of these pure granites, no?
I have to say, we have today the 2019, and the 20 is coming up, I think, if I'm correct. It's still rather freshly released, this one. I put it in the carafe a little bit because there was the first time when I tasted it, it was there's already so much complexity and richness and body, but then you get the feeling there is more, and this is obviously very young still. So now with the carafe, it helped me a little bit to get into the second layer or the deeper layers. But what would you, in terms of aging, suggest for a wine like this?
Talking about carafe, I already always recommend to carafe, and on the same way, not enjoy the wine very cold. Here. No. Normally,
that's good that you say it, because still too many people.
Yeah, because these wines are the freshness. Yes, are the freshness by nature. Okay, that has has a lot of freshness by thanks to that where it's cultivated.
It does not need the cold to be fresh.
Of course, this is this is exactly. And talking about the age of the wines, it's always the same question, the same, because I'm sure that in the last 10 years we really understood our potential. Maybe in the beginning we made some mistakes, because sometimes we're looking for to produce wines with a lot of extraction, working a lot of very hard on the lees, and finally, after 18 years working these parcels, 18 years trying to understand every parcel, the potential of every parcel, I'm sure that the top wines was born in the last 10 years to right now, no? I think after 2010, 11, we really start to understand that our wine has a very high potential, no? Because of evolution. Because we open bottles today with 10 years old. This year, the last days, I made many different tastings on the whole Spain, and I taste with the people some little short verticals of Azortes, 2010, 2011, 12, and wasn't the most exciting wines, no? Because after 10 years in the bottle, the wines really support very well the time in bottle, and at the same time express much better the soil and the freshness.
Okay,
it's a really amazing success, no? Because and also when, of course, we always are limited by the freshness of different vintages, no? Not every vintage
not every year is the same,
the high potential, but it's true that we make, if you want, and many years ago in the beginning we had a big difference between the quality of the top vintage and a medium, or you know,
So
the
it was
Rioja,
very much far apart.
the Rioja people never, we never had bad vintages, but
Always the same, constant.
always medium, no, but really. And today we have not this big difference in quality between a top vintage on a medium one or regular one. Okay, of course, every vintage has his different profile, different style, but it's true that in the last years we have not been different. In the beginning, I remember, yes, that we needed a top vintage to produce
the top wine.
Top wine. Today, I think thanks to this understanding, to this work, and to work very hard in the vineyards and recovering.
And to be honest, sometimes I talk to wineries where they are on the same place for hundreds of years, for centuries. But you came here not for centuries ago. I mean, the vineyards are older, but maybe you learned from the people where you bought the land from a little bit, but it's not the same as your family working there for centuries and centuries, because then your father and your grandfather can tell you what is happening, but now
but not here, and here I'm more. It's not only because it's not my region, and at the same time it's because we have not a long history here because practically due the economical social problematic of Galicia. Galicia was a very poor region on the past, and was very immigrant, and this translate to the viticulture, is really was always in the was suffering a lot the economical situations. Okay, the reason why we have not a long history of Godellos, because Godello is recovering in the end of the 70s, in the beginning of 80s. It's enough age because today we enjoy wines with medium age 45 years old vines, but we have not a lot of history in Godello.
And knowledge.
We had some 3 or 4 exceptions of old Godellos, talking about 100 years, but it's only 3 in whole Galicia.
So it's very limited volume of this.
It's right now when we start building the history of Godello. You understand?
Well, you're very much part of shaping.
Of course, and also I think that the really pioneers was Godello, Gitian in the beginning. Those wineries start producing Godello in the beginning of 80s and 90s, and it was thanks to them that
otherwise you
take
would
the interest of Godello, no?
Yeah.
And was very minoritary presence in the market, because in this time, Rías Baixas with Alvarinho was, concentrate all the interest in the Galician white grapes. But I think it's important to recognize, the history that the pioneers.
But you have to also give yourself the credits, because it's okay, the pioneers are there and the vineyards are old and you can work with that, but still you make choices on where you want to be, and you have an ambition level, and your ambition level is high, and also the wine travels wide. I mean, back in those days there were maybe good wines, but they did not go abroad in Spain. They stayed in Spain more or less. And now we talk about this Godello, it goes around the world.
I think more than ambition is passion, no? Much passion.
Okay, good. I like that.
Yes, because I really, when you have ambition, I think you don't really enjoy. You don't really enjoy your work, no? When you have passion and you love your work, and you love the nature, you love the vines, the vineyards. I think it's when you really enjoy, this work.
Yeah.
And after many years working here, today I think I start living my better lives. Not only I'm talking about professional, but the professional success gives me a very personal happiness. No.
It goes hand in hand. Yeah. And then I make a little bridge. Forgive me for trying to do it, but obviously we're still with Azortes, which is
Sí.
great. I'm enjoying it very much, but there is more. So maybe we go to the level up, because you already explained some of the plots, some of the Azortes, you decided to take out at some point to go for
Yeah.
single vineyard.
Yes, in the beginning was more complicated, because in the beginning I need these top parcels, because it's not necessary to be an eminent and super eminence to understand, to feel the top parcels in working with many of.
They were too important as a component for the wine.
Okay, but was necessary because after 18 years working these parcels, we really improved the quality. The parcels are older, and when I bought these parcels for Azortes, the medium age was 30 years old. Today, this parcel has more than 45 years old, and it's another, determinant decision that helped me to start producing my first single vineyard. In, of course, Osoro was always our top level wine by parcel, and also we had another single vineyard named Antiga. Is the only exception with the vines more than 100 years old.
And so these are centenarial vines.
They're the centenarial vines, and after many years working of this, and really and found the way to produce a very interesting wine. This wine is fermenting with the skins. It's a skin contact wine, 100% skins, but very careful, very careful fermentation. We are not very, intense, talking about pillage, talking about.
No. You let it do the work itself. You watch it.
The skins help to the parcel. Sometimes it's very difficult, because the big problem of the skin contact is that you lose the profile of the origin of the parcel, because the texture and the aromas from the skins give to the wine a very strange, and strong character. But we really, thanks to Pablo, our winemaker, he's a very young guy, working very hard. He has a lot of experience working with reds, with fine reds. We really we produce a very interesting wine. I think with the skins, we really make better a parcel with not so high identity or high level as Osoro, no? And we are very happy, especially with the last two vintages, 19 and 20. Especially 20, I think that was a really success wine.
For all the wines that you produce in this vintage, it was a good one. But because you and I have to say, and I don't know how much value you add to that, but you also got 100 points.
Yeah, but exactly in between.
A few years.
If you compare 20 with 19, in 20, the high level, not the high altitude wines, the more altitude wines, it's much more good wines, good vintages than 19. Okay, but in 19, the entry Louro is a little bit better than 20. I think in Louro we had a lot of we have 1 week of hot of high temperatures in the harvest time, and don't help to Louro to
you would say
really.
It's more the other way around.
Okay, but in the rest of the wines, thanks to the high altitude, this week of more high temperatures in harvest, not suffering. These parts are not suffering a lot, and thanks to that, we produce a really top wine. Osoro 20. Luis Gutierrez say that this is the starts. Concentrate together to produce a top wine, and I think that it's the result of many years working very hard with a lot of passion, as I told you minutes ago. to find, you know, to really exprime, you know, the potential of this parcel. This is a wonderful parcel. This is a wonderful terraces with like a, you know, like a Roman architectonical perfection. It's not especially, it's not one of the more north position. It's not exactly north. It's a little bit more west, but these terraces are open to the north winds in the highest altitude of Vivay Valley, and it's open to the hard winds, to the and refreshing permanently the vines. And the altitude is the high altitude in of all our wines is like 710 meters, and also one of the most you know, important parameters of quality of these parcels is the really extremely soils, no? Yeah. Are very fine sands from granite. Very representative. Very fine, yeah. It's like a, you know, like sands of from the beach. And at the same time has a lot of the big beds of quartz cross the parcels and give to the soils a lot of silicium, a lot of quartz, and it's thanks to that the saltiness of this wine is much more pungent, a little more vibrant as the rest of the wines. Okay, it has this gastronomical character of these soils, because I think our minerality in the minerality in our wines is very gastronomic. It's very open in the mouth. It's like, you know, it's longer. It's not the classical minerality of from volcanic of schist soils. It's much more vertical, more direct. Here still, you know, in the open side of the mouth. But thanks to this presence of quartz and presence of silicium, this wine is the end of this minerality is much more, you know, pungent, vibrant, sometimes electric, no? And it's really very, very amazing.
What I take away from the story is that when you started, and it's 18 years ago now, huh?
Okay. 18 years, yes, 18 years exactly.
So the first years, obviously, it's getting to know the variety, the vineyards, everything. So like you said, from 2010 onwards, you get the feeling that you better understand how it works and what is specific for the sortes and for everything. But then there is a second thing that happens. A few years ago, you decided, okay, now we are on the quality level where I want it to be. Then I can make the decision to go in single vineyards, and then you entered the single vineyards because you were confident or happy enough to make it, give it its own wine, more or less.
And on the same time, we can't lose the quality in the blend of assortes, okay? Yeah. But I think it's really the result, no, of in our family, and we are not flying winemakers, okay? We are not, especially, no, and many of people of the family is gone away. Priorat, Bierzo, in Rioja Alta, my another nieces and me and Valdeorras, but we live here. We really are, you know, introducing not only in the region, also in the society. You know, we are living here every day in the morning. We feel, no, the climb. We feel everything, and this is the only way to produce and to understand your work.
I love it. And when you talk about passion, this is also passion. It's not just the vineyards, the grapes, the wines. It's the society, like you said, everything that brings it together, which is for you important for your family as well.
Of course.
So we are now, like I said, a few years you were very close to getting this 100 points. So I think 98, 96. So almost just a little bit off. Now we have the last final 2 points in 2020. You get it. So what was your first reaction? Because like you said, from a few years ago already, there was a very, I would say, positive vibe about your wine. Spain with the leading journalists.
You asked me about my expression, talking about my reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, my reaction was well. I was in Alfaro because that weekend was I was in Alfaro in Rioja.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, I think that's for me the first reaction was that in this time I was in Alfaro, and I thought that the 100 points are in Galicia, 500 kilometers away, and I thought that finally the trip has been, como ha merecido la pena, no? The trip finally, has a result, no, has a success, no?
Wow.
And was very, very, well, of course, was very emotional. I cannot, stop it was 11, I think it was on the night because I was traveling. I had not the possibility.
You're always busy and always around.
And I finally take my little dog and I go away from my village. I walk in from the village during 3 hours, 2 hours because I can't sleep. And the more intimate things, I was visiting my father's and my sister Cello in the cemetery. Yeah. Just to share with them I think the more important, because finally I worked with my father. I lost my father when I was not very old, not very young, but not very old. And also our sister died last year. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was very emotional, to share with them.
You went back to share with them
yes.
The crown on the work, more or less.
And now after that, 2-3 weeks, amazing. Was like like they have like New Year,
Yeah.
That was impressive, because happy because the 100 points arrive in the historical place of Galicia,
mm-hmm. So you helped Galicia to get 100 points.
As a Bibey Valley, okay? This is a historical place. Here, the people produce wines for many, many centuries ago. And I love that because it's a historical, paisage, historical villages. And also, for me, the most exciting thing was a white wine from Galicia because was my desire, my desire that if one day a Galician wine arrives to
the top,
to have so crazy quantity of points, for me it was very important that will be a white wine. Why? Because I think it's the white wine, thanks than to his clean elaboration without skins, without any any. Is the more crystalline and the more transparent and the more.
If you have a mistake, you find it easier in the white wine.
Easy to show the really potential of this amazing region is Galicia, talking about soils, talking about freshness, talking about Atlantic influence. That's for me very important. Okay, of course we are happy because we are the fortunate people and to arrive to this point. But for me, the more important was historical place of Galicia has 100 points, and historical white wines of Galicia has 100 points. No,
I like that. I mean, it's larger than yourself. It's larger than the guys. It's the whole aspect, and you bring something back to the people as well. And I know it's difficult, and especially in Spain, especially for a white wine. We talked about it earlier. It's not easy task. It's not a goal on itself, but the recognition is good. And I read some reviews also from Luis Gutierrez, and you mentioned before he was always very, very positive about Azortes and it being one of the greater wines, white wines of Spain. So I think it's time now that people also outside of Spain get to see more of it, which brings me to a question which is always difficult. With success, there is also the problem of availability. How is it going in terms of the export of your wines? And not just the Osoro, Azortes.
No, I think that I was always very interested in the export market. On the past, we have changed, we have not big change from 10 years ago or from the beginning to now. In the beginning, I always work minimum 35% export market. Today, 45% is export market and 55% is Spain domestic market. And I think that is our wine has very international style, no? As you know, I don't like to compare. I think how we have it's really, for me, I'm really obsessed, you know, to compare all the wines with the Burgundy.
No.
I think with many people say that, but I think it is not the really. I'm sure that the really success in our wine has an international level. Okay, we can talk in, you know, in the north of France, we can talk in north of Italy, everywhere, but
people still like the wine everywhere.
Has
you
identity,
go.
no? Has identity, has elegance, has terroir character, and this is the really and this is the reason why we always had a very good, nice success in the export market, no?
Yeah, it's a big percentage, especially for Spanish wineries. And I know it's growing more, and also in the premium part of the market is going more abroad now. So, but still, it's like you said from the start on, you were always very keen on having the wines not just in Spain but also in other countries. And in Holland, you are with Jebacht. So that's a good and an important partner for you and importing the wines.
Yeah.
So volume, to give the people still a little bit an idea of the production. How much do you produce now, average yearly?
In whole wines?
Yeah.
A little bit more of 250,000 bottles. Between 250,000 bottles, maximum 300,000 bottles.
And a big percentage goes into the
Loro. Loro is the most big, because I saw this is only 20,000 bottles. Also, it's 2,000 bottles, and Antigua is less of 1,000 bottles. Okay.
So the higher we go up, obviously there is less bottles. So it's always more tricky. Yeah. Okay, I have a question from the guests from last week, and I saw they were watching. I don't know if they're still there, but last week we were in the Wachau region in Austria.
Oh, yes.
So we talk about the Grüne Veltliner, and we talk about also very characteristic grape. We had the discussion. I think there is no place on the world where you have the Grüne Veltliner, and if they have it, it's not the same as in the Wachau, because it's also close to each other, the two. Leo Altsinger, he had a question for you, and the question was, for the next 10 years for your winery, what do you think is your challenge, one of your biggest challenges that is coming? So that can be anything, like business, like the vineyards, everything. What keeps you awake, where you think, okay, the next 10 years is gonna get a lot of attention from me?
And the next 10 years will be the best 10 years, because after close to 20 years working very hard in this project, I think that the future is to continue looking to be better. Sometimes my father said to be the correct is the best, the big enemy from the better. Okay, but now we are very interested in after working many years for 6 years ago with animal traction with horses in the single vineyards of Soro and Antigua. Today we are we improve a lot of energy to introduce the horses in a whole parcels of assortes, and also continue learning about biodynamic, because I think we are very young in biodynamical viticulture, and we put a lot of energy to continue, learning and introducing this, because after the first experience we had changing, because we always was working in organic, but after some introduction, some you know, for single parcels working in the biodynamic,
yeah.
we continue and you know introducing this method in the rest of the vines.
You're expanding
in a sort of spending that will be very complicated because you know it's just you need a lot of more than energy. You need more people, more time. But I think it's the way to really respect, not to really and improve the best you know expression of your soils and on for your parcels. Mm.
I agree. It's a good goal. We're closing up to the end of the show, so I want to ask the people still if they have a question, they can type it in the chat. I'll try to pick it up if there is somebody that wants to know something. I still have obviously one question, so I can in the meanwhile ask you this, and then we'll see if somebody else wants to know something, because it's for next week. Yeah, you'll also get the opportunity to ask a question for the guests for next week. And for next week, we're going to go to the other side of Spain. And I already briefed you up front. And we're going to go to the Gramona family. And this is also obviously a name that is there for a long time. But we're going to talk to Leo, who's also not just for Gramona.
Nice guy. Leo.
We're also going to talk about their other project.
Leo and Rock are very nice young people.
Rock, very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the young guns, and maybe they don't like it when I say it like this, but they are a new generation in the family and in the winery. What would you ask them? Yeah, anything you can ask them. What question do you have for them?
No, I would like was really the idea, no, because I really know very well the family, and I say what is the idea in the future, no? I think. The idea to continue, especially working themselves, or back to the winery, family winery in a future, no?
So the question would be: do they still want to keep continuing with Gramona and just next to each other, or they want to make a decision at some point? Like you also made a decision at some point.
Of course.
Okay, good. We're going to ask them. I have a question here. Any chance of doing a Albarino project? I could have asked the same question. It's an interesting question in Galicia.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think about this question? You want to do an Albarino project?
No, I have not any interest in any other projects. I think it's, I'm very happy, after, I think it's the time to enjoy. And I think my more important project in the future is convince my sons to continue to continue in the future with this amazing project. Carlota, she's the older. He's 20. Early will be 24 years old. Lucas is 19 years old, and Gonzalo is 15 years old. And that will be the really challenge in the future, no?
Yeah. This is your big challenge.
Because I think it's the more.
The three. This is your big challenge.
They're right.
So, and I think I have one more question. What is your favorite wine? And if you don't want to choose a Godello, you could say now Rioja, maybe.
No, I love a lot of wines. I love, of course, Galician wines. I love some wines from Penedès, from Enric Soler. My preference wines from grape maybe is Chenin Blanc.
Yeah.
I love Chardonnay, but I love that as I told you, as we talked minutes ago, sometimes the best Chardonnays in Burgundy has not the Chardonnay profile, the Chardonnay style, no? Okay, it's just the style. But I love a lot, I like Loire, and also I love Riesling. Riesling for me it's a little bit short. It's very direct grape, but I think it's like, it's a very, the Riesling and the German soils or Alsatian soils is always a very nice, a very nice complement, because this is a very direct expression from there.
I agree. I mean, nothing gets lost in the Riesling. You find everything back in the Riesling grape.
It's a little bit cold. It's not a grape with longer, mouth. It's not a longer, expression. But when you have a very nice, very extreme soils, it's a very nice bridge to enjoy the soils.
I
And
agree, and I know winemakers also obviously have good contacts with other wineries and other winemakers. So when you say you like German Riesling, do you have a winemaker in Germany which you are very close to, or which wines or signature do you like? Or
I don't know. I know him because I was visiting the winery many years ago. I think 10 years ago or less. For me, one of the reference talking about vinification purity can be Helmut Donoff.
yeah, Donolf, yeah.
Be one of very interesting producers. But I also like, for me, one of my iconic wines. I don't know the people, but for me, one of the iconic wines is a wine that I think that I discovered thanks to my brother Alvaro. But for me, one of the top wines on the world, or maybe, and of course, the top wine in Riesling is the Clos and Hun of Trimbach. And I think Trimbach, Clos and Hun, I think is one of the most, because it's a Riesling with a lot of, silky character. It's amazing, because has the freshness, has the soil from Alsace, but has a very silky character. And you don't find
way of treating this.
And you don't find in many other Rieslings, no?
I agree. So I think we have one more question and then we're going to round it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think we already talked a little bit about that, but I'm going to ask it still. How many things have changed since you got the 100 points of Parker? Well, it's just last month, huh? So it's just very short for you now. The wines are not on the market yet, I think.
The wine will be released in the next weeks.
Yeah.
And I tell you, honestly, never change because, unfortunately, I think it's not very happy situation right now. We live now in Ukraine, and I think it was in the same time when the points are published. And it's start this invasion. This is really
there's a lot on your head, everybody's head. So it's
right.
not...
And for me, never change. No, never change, because I think that we must be happy. We must be very lucky. It's an honor to arrive that to found or to join these 100 points. But I think it's for me it's only a happiness. It's only the help and the really an award for this hard work from the last
years. The gratitude for this.
And I think for me, it's never changed. It's only and recognize and recognition from our work. And
the only thing that will change is that more people were gonna ask you for this.
And now we are a little bit crazy in the winery, a little bit crazy with the allocations, but yeah, doesn't matter.
When it's finished, then it's finished, and there is no more.
Of course. Now we will keep 500 bottles.
You keep for yourself. You need to, because you need
because it's a wine. It's a 2020. It's too young wine, and I decide to keep a quart of production to keep on in the winery and to keep in for 5-10 years. I don't know.
It's good because at least you are the one that knows how important it is to keep the wines for longer periods. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to not be able to resist drinking the wine. And this one, just to round it up, come back to the wine that we tasted today, is also a great wine. And I feel a little bit ashamed that we had to open it today. I'm sorry that we had to do it because it's 2019.
Don't worry, it doesn't matter.
It could have also obviously been in the cellar for more years and even developed further, because it's a great wine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Niels. Thank you.
So, Rafael, we're going to post a review of this wine later so everybody can watch it, so they can read about the wine.
Okay, thank you.
The show will be also recorded, so they're going to watch it back. And I want to thank you for the time and obviously for the great wines that you're making. So we're very happy that you spent some time with us.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Niels.
And we're going to ask Leo next week about if they decide to split away.
I will be on connection. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Nice evening.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye. Nice evening. Ciao. Ciao.
Ciao. So thank you everybody for watching, and this was episode 3 of season 5 with Rafael Palacios. So we had a nice conversation, great wines, great winery, and next week we're going to go into Alpenedes, and we're going to go to the other side of Spain, and we're going to go talk about Cremona, and we're also not going to talk just about Cremona, but also Clos de Peralba, which is a very special project that we're going to discuss. And we're going to talk about sparkling wines, Spanish sparkling wines, amongst others. So if you are a fan of Spanish wines and you want to learn more, Cremona is a big name where obviously we're going to learn a lot about them, the winery and the wines and the region. So tune in next week, next Friday, same time, 7:30. And then in the meanwhile, if you want to learn more about this great wine, the S05E03 2019. The review will be online later, and I can tell you it's easily one of the best wines that I had this year. Although the year is short, I don't think this is going to fall away from my top of 2022. Sorry. Thanks for watching, and have a great evening, everybody.